how do growers avoid gumming up the sprayer and keep it rolling over the acres they need to cover? The first thing you need to look at is what you're putting in the tank and in what order.
Corn School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
Welcome to Real Agriculture. Today I am down at BASF London Research Farm with BASF technical agronomist Mike Schryver. Sir, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Bern?
I'm doing good. Hey, I want to talk about mixing order, sprayers today, WAMLEGS. We're going to get into that, but it's about how to keep those sprayers rolling and making sure we don't have problems in the tank. What do you talk to growers about when you get into this conversation? What do we need to think about?
Well, there's a lot of planning that's been made up until this point. There's a lot of solutions that we're trying to solve at this time of year and really tight windows of trying to capture what might be just one pass. So there's a lot of different things and dynamics happening in the tank, and in developing products we want to make sure that our growers have the best experience possible. So hence why mixing order and the different aspects that go into that solution are seen through as smoothly as we possibly can.
Yeah. Hey, I want to talk about how to do this right, but maybe a good way to talk about it is what happens when things go wrong. And we've got a couple of videos I want to look at today.
Sure.
Here's one with glyphosate in the tank and a heavy load. What happens here?
As you can see in this video, certainly something that would start to collect in the filter. We can see a lot of stringiness in the flakes that start to form. Really, your solubility has gone down, and certainly is going to be a bad day. So we want to switch to this scenario where things are looking good, things are clean and clear, and it's going to move freely through that sprayer. You won't find it on the screens, and it'll be a happy day.
ATS, UAN, two things that sort of run in the tank together. We can do this wrong. We can do this right. Let's look at the wrong way to do this if we put ATS in the tank first.
Sure, yeah, you called it out. So ATS always goes in the tank last in those situations where you're looking to maybe manage the fertility as well as the weed control. That ATS, again, always at the end. What you can see in this video where you've got the ATS in before, trying to add a herbicide on top of that, again, your solubility goes down dramatically, and you're going to certainly have that herbicide collecting in the screens and plugging filters. Again, a bad day, and certainly something we want to avoid getting into the season in these tight windows.
Let's talk about some UAN ATS testing and what we need to think about there from a ratio perspective, and what we need to do to get it right.
So you're going to want to follow the label and manufacturer's recommendations. Typically we get into 7 to 10 to 1, those types of ratios, but it's going to depend a little bit on which herbicide you're using, but certainly want to stay away from 3 to 1 and those heavier ratios, and the amount of ATS is certainly going to compound the problem if you've got more ATS in there.
Another thing we need to talk about, concentrates. Tell us a little bit more about those and what we need to be concerned about.
Yeah, so when we're talking about concentrates, really that's two products, not in water solution, but together in what you find in the jug together in one. So thinking of those chem handlers and those hot mixes where you're trying to add more things together at once. We want to make sure that we're really slowing down and ensuring that you've got each concentrate going into water solution as opposed to two concentrates touching. And there's various products where we certainly know that we don't want those two concentrates together. It's where we can get into sort of gel situations, and flowability starts to plummet pretty quickly. And we want to stay away from that toothpaste consistency.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about water, specifically this time of year, cold water, and why we need to be aware of that.
Yeah, so at this time of year, water temperature typically is colder, depending on your water source. That can also reduce your water solubility and the way that the different products go into solution. So temperature certainly is a consideration.
Mike, let's talk about nitrogen stabilizers, a product that more and more growers are using these days. What do we need to think about that?
Yeah, a lot of people are looking to add that to protect their investment in terms of their nitrogen source. We have typically found that the nitrogen stabilizers are very compatible, so that's some good news. Certainly we'll still recommend a jar test for those maybe looking at using a new one that they are less familiar with, but for the most part, it's a bit of a green check mark from that standpoint.
Hey, final thoughts for growers? As I say, everybody's getting revved up, heading out with those sprayers. Final thoughts on what they need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, there's a lot of plans that have been made, a lot of investments that have been made. I think really the take-home here is following that label and knowing what you're working with within WAMLEGS. So the different components, a microencapsulated suspension is going to be different than an EC formulation or an SC formulation. So just making sure you're going down that list and taking the different solutions and incorporating them in that proper order to just give yourself the best and most efficient use across the field to keep sprayers rolling.
Awesome. Hey, appreciate you making some time for Real Agriculture.
Yeah, it's great.
Appreciate it.
Corn School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by BASF Agricultural Solutions Canada, helping farmers do the biggest job on earth. And Pride Seeds, proven performance designed to support on-farm success season after season.